Okay, great. I think it says we're live.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I just want to introduce Serena. Serena Henson was a participant in this last round of my Dances Medicine Facilitator Training. And it's really wonderful to have her here. I've just been loving the shares that people have had about their experience in this last training. And they've just been so inspiring that I wanted to share them with the world and share them from their own words. So maybe let's start, Serena. Do you want to tell us a little bit about maybe like who you are, what you're up to? Or let's start, what were you up to before you did the training? Like what was going on for you? What maybe motivated you to join the training?
Yeah, certainly. So nice to be here. I trying to think back now where I was. So much has changed. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I started a journey of personal development and I enrolled in a life coaching course, which was a mix of neuroscience and Eastern modalities. So a lot of spirituality in there, which was wonderful. I did a lot of personal growth, but I knew I wanted to help people a little bit more on a deeper level. And then I certified as a trauma recovery coach. So that was kind of the second year of isolation. And then with that, I worked in that for quite some time, but I was finding that the talk therapy, although very helpful, was missing something. And all this while through the pandemic, in my personal journey, I was exploring dance, and the light bulb went off for me that, you know, moving my body, somatic healing, and the joy and fun of dancing that was bringing to my healing, there was something there, and I wanted to explore that more, and it felt like that little missing puzzle piece. So that was the main motivator, and kind of where I was at the beginning of this journey.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, talk therapy, I mean, it can be so healing and so helpful, but I've also had lots of students come to my classes or my trainings and say, like, then they do a conscious dance ceremony and something that they've been working on for years, something just like clicks and they're able to like gain more awareness or experience healing and resolution, you know, maybe within like one session. Not always, of course, but I've had a lot of people say that things just move so much quicker when they're moving it through their body. And from a shamanic perspective, but also stuff that we're learning now through like nervous system kind of science and neuroscience, is that a lot of our memories and our experiences are stored in the body, in different places in our body. And so by using breath and movement and intention, we can often move things a lot quicker, resolve trauma, heal the past, all these things so much quicker with conscious movement.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. It's literally moving it out. I remember at the beginning of the course, you said something that like you have to move through it to get over it. And it really resonated. And I think dance is such a great example of that, because you are literally moving it and allowing your body to maybe experience those emotions that you or experience memories that you've been repressing, and giving them a space to move and letting them go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And from a nervous system perspective, quite often what happens is when there's been some kind of traumatic or stressful experience that's kind of overwhelming kind of stress, not everyday kind of stress, but overwhelming. And it can be over everyday stress too, but like overwhelming stress. What happens is we go into a stress response, and because we're domesticated beings, quite often something can happen where we don't feel safe enough or in tune with ourselves enough to complete that stress cycle, that stress response, and it gets stuck in our body, like it's kind of like frozen in our system. And through creative expression, then we can get that moving again and have that stress cycle complete itself and come into a place of resolution. And also, of course, and then that reverberates into the psyche and into the physical body, like in all the directions.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So much yes to this. There's been so many times where I haven't been able to, I mean, even things that I didn't realize I was holding on to, I think, is one of the little magic pieces of this, because you might go in with the intention of, releasing one thing or intending to embody something, and something else happens. Through the music, through the guidance, something else can come up. And I think the journaling piece after these types of experiences is so important, of what your intention was and what the reflection is after that experience. And kind of documenting that for yourself is so therapeutic and beautiful and empowering, especially.
Mm-hmm. Was there, during the training, was there any experiences like that really stick out for you, or something, it could be big or small, but something significant kind of moved for you and came into a place of resolution, if you're open to sharing?
Yeah. The one that comes to mind actually was in the beginning of the training. It was March when we started. So the spring equinox kind of happened in the first phase, and it was you had led it outside of our training. And I remember going into that not exactly knowing what to expect. I had done, conscious dance in festivals when I was traveling, but really being there as a place to heal was new to me. So I didn't exactly know what to expect, except that I knew it was going to be fun. And, I came in with a lot of curiosity. And I remember I, used my speakers and I blasted it in my house. I was home alone, and really allowed myself to get into that space. And just, I think, the energy of the equinox and the fresh new beginning that offered. I remember in the kind of more at the end of the dance, in that phase, I was lying down and I just started crying. And it was there wasn't necessarily any memory or experience attached to it, except that it was just this like very physical release of, this new journey, this acceptance for where I am right now, and this excitement of where this was going to take me. It was very, surrendering into that of, wow, how powerful this can be, of how I can help others, what I had done so far and trying to coach people. But this, coming out of the dance and just in the space of like, wowness of, we can release, we can heal ourselves. We have, I remember just feeling like I have everything I need right now to be able to do this for myself, and being excited to be able to take the course, to be able to facilitate that for other people. That was very profound. I think it really set the tone for me for the rest of the container, and of course the community. I think that's kind of the second piece of it, is having that container of like-minded people who also were just experiencing this transformative experiences through dance, which is something that I think for all of us is such a fun thing to do. But when you're doing it consciously with other people and you feel safe, it's so magical.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought, there's a couple pieces there. I'm glad you brought up one. A lot of people have shared that in this training, one of the things that maybe consciously or unconsciously that they were seeking was a sense of belonging. And I know like the training does and can attract in a lot of misfits, maybe like people who I want to see them as having unique superpowers, but not necessarily feeling like they fit in to the status quo, into what I often call the overculture, like society at large, and finding those like-minded souls that for them, that movement and dance is, like you said, fun, but also where they found it's also deeply nourishing. It helps them connect to themselves and their higher wisdom. It's healing. For some, it's a prayer or meditation, and finding this sense of belonging, a safe space also to fully be yourself, express yourself, feel safe to honor all aspects of your being.
Totally. And that reminds me of another really, I wasn't expecting from the course necessarily. It was very impulsive when I made this decision. Was the ceremonial aspect, you know, like how to actually help people feel safe energetically, setting up the space, the rituals involved for myself before people even arrive into the room or the area that you're having the dance, and how much that adds to it. You know, I can tell when I've just, you know, when I've actually taken the time to set up, you know, even if it's just like, okay, I'm going to dedicate the next 15 minutes to this dance, and, you know, having that intention, or you know, adding that with candles or incense, or you know, and you go so deep into this in such a beautiful way. But just that aspect was so I've just seen how much of an additional layer that brings to the entire practice, and how it makes it more conscious.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I'm curious, it sounds like it was very impulsive, but what made you choose this particular training? Because there are many trainings out there.
Yeah. I think that when I went to your website, I remember I had several windows of different dance trainings up in like tabs, and they're, you know, I think we all resonate with the people that we want to instruct with. So there was definitely a lot of what you were saying. There was an example video that you had given that I really resonated with. Apart from that, it being accessible at the time, we were in a pandemic, so I couldn't, well, we still, you know, it was just a little bit different then. So it being online and accessible, I think the depth of the training, that it being the length of time that it was, there's several trainings, but they're very quick. And I was really looking for something where I could have my own healing, my own growth, in order to be able to bring that to others. And I think that the length of time is really important there for me at that time. And then also that you were in Canada really helped. There was just, you know, I'm Canadian. I don't know. I think I just felt closer to home for me. So that was a factor. But the other parts were just resonating with your content, with your messaging, and the subjects, you know, overviewing what we were going to look at and how I could bring that to other people. Definitely resonated. I was like, I need to be into this class. And I think I got in like on the day before the deadline. So yeah, it just felt like divine timing in that way. It was just like, okay, I'm supposed to be here.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, and I like what you said about the length of time, because I have offered it in different formats, although usually over a similar length of time. And what I love about this, the current format, is like it's 9 months, and 9 months is very similar to the amount of time that we spend gestating in the womb. And, you know, I could offer it as like an in-person 1 month intensive, but my experience has been with the depth of training of this kind of process, this kind of training, is that it doesn't allow you the time for integration. It's like there are a lot of programs out there, and I'm sure they're amazing. I'm not trying to diss them in any way, but they offer you this kind of like fast, quick, intense, deep experience. But the more I learn about how our nervous system works, like that can often be very overwhelming for a system. And so how much can we really receive and soak in and integrate in such a short period of time, especially with a certain amount of depth and intensity. And so what I love about this is that we have this 9-month process, and then everyone gets to hold each other for that 9 months as you slowly, that's what I've been learning about our nervous systems is we need like slow and steady, little tidbits, integrate it, and also integrate it into your life. I probably will offer it like this in the future at some point, maybe, but every time I think about it, it's like this fact that you're in your regular life. You're not just going off on a retreat somewhere and away from real life. You have to still confront your loved ones, your partner, your friends. You have to confront life during the training and then integrate the pieces that you're receiving from the training through, it's almost a year-long process. And that is so much different than just going off on retreat. And then you don't have to confront life. You do have to confront other people in the training, of course. So there's still that, but you don't have to confront your life. And then often people have that experience where they come back to their life, and then, maybe they've been on a bit of a high of like, whoa, transformation, amazing. And then they come back into their life or back into what often people coin the real world. And then they have this bit of a crash because they're like, whoa, now I have to confront the real world.
Oh yeah, and you haven't had time to necessarily integrate that and yeah, as you say, with your nervous system to be able to handle those situations in a way that is healing, that is your evolvement. So yeah, absolutely. It allowed too for just connecting with everyone in the community, that I think that takes time, and building those relationships with the other facilitators in training, and just on a personal level of dancing and your love of dance, and then support and encouragement,
Mhm.
and being seen in such a vulnerable and an empowering way at the same time. So yeah, definitely for me anyway, a fan of the longer trainings.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I also like this idea that, I know that things have opened up now, and so there's these opportunities for us to be in person. Of course, that is my favorite. But what I've been loving about the training is people attend from all over the world. And then it cuts down the carbon footprint in terms of, and it also makes it more accessible in terms of people don't have to fly long distances to join the training. I know when I was young and in my early 20s, and there was some trainings I really wanted to go to, but it was like 3 different week-long modules in New York. And that was just, I've known people who've had to like remortgage their homes to attend some of those trainings. And, that's a huge investment, which it's probably worth it for sure. But it's like, it can take a while to recover from that kind of investment, because you're not making as much as you can make this your career, and you can make money in it. It's not the same kind of profession as, say, a doctor or a lawyer, right? In terms of, and maybe we'll get there. I hold the vision it will get there and be honored in that way. But at the current time, you're not making that kind of money, so it can be hard to repay that kind of investment. So keeping the investment a bit smaller, yeah, and you get the opportunity to just be in the comfort of your own home and still engaging and connecting with other people. And I do still offer opportunities for in-person connection. There's one module of the training that I've kind of separated out because it can't be offered online, which is my shamanic drum dance journey facilitator training. And that one I offer in person because it's the only way. So then if trainees want to come to an in-person training, they can do that. And then this last year I offered the Conscious Dance event organizer training, where we talk specifically about how to organize conscious dance events, which are different than conscious dance ceremonies and classes. And so that one this year I offered in person and online because it was like a weekend intensive, and that was pretty cool too. So there are opportunities to connect in person, but I think this makes it really easy to integrate again into your regular life. And I did swear for years that I would never ever take this training online, but I've been constantly amazed at how well it actually works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was looking anyways, I was having the exact same experience of them being half like a hybrid model. and them being very far. And that would be, just during the time, just not very financially possible for me. So yeah, having it online definitely helped. And I think too, depending on where you are, if you're taking this training, or if you're thinking of taking this training, to see if like what's in your community that you can participate to online. If it's not accessible, if you're not near where Hope is offering these trainings, I'm in Montreal, so I hope to be able to come to them in Alberta, but I haven't been able to yet. So trying to see what's available in Montreal so that I can get those in-person experiences, and then also but having the slow integration is a really nice way to do it, and what I did towards the end of the training, which was very helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. Or you can create your own thing in your community, right? And then you get the in-person experience.
Exactly, even better.
Which was my whole intention. Which was my whole intention of creating this training was to have this be more accessible in different parts of the world. Especially my intention is still out there. I want to call in the people who live in, really rural communities, but that still have strong community, but might not live in a big city, and so don't have access to conscious dance in the same way that people in big cities have currently.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm like holding that and seeing all of these like small rural communities just dancing it out. So nice.
Yeah, or that's where, having the online dance community, again, maybe there's not other people in your rural area that are interested, but then, having this online community is another way to connect as well.
Yeah.
I am curious though, Serena, like since doing the training, what has it inspired in you? Like, what are you feeling called to share with the world? What are you up to?
So, well, right now, sort of the second half of your question, I'm also a pole dancer. That's the dance that I was exploring, and that was very healing for me before joining your container. And now I am blending those, and it's been a beautiful experience just for myself. Pole can be it's a very rewarding sport because you're trying all of these very intense tricks and moving your body in these, very not so comfortable ways sometimes. And I think for any pole dancers that are listening, or any of these sports that have this, you're constantly trying to up level yourself or like perfect the moves. And I found myself getting lost in that. So putting in the conscious dance piece and not necessarily focusing on getting the moves right, but just moving through them is what I really want to bring to the conscious dance. So blending those, because pole dancing as well is very therapeutic. It's very empowering, especially for our feminine energy, no matter which gender you identify as. I think that feminine energy is very, you explore that a lot through pole, but bringing in that conscious element and having it there as a tool, but not necessarily something that you need to use in an acrobatic way or anything, just there as support and as a fun way to play and explore. Has been really fun. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to take this with my dance studio, and currently offering kind of pole classes with a healing twist. Has been very, very empowering for me, and wanting to share that. So I think that answers your question. Kind of like that's kind of been the magical component for me, is like combining. I'm someone who has all of these interests, so it's always beautiful when I can kind of combine them together and create an offering out of that.
I love it. I love it. I'm really excited for you, because I think it is, and I've seen that happen in some of the different other, I want to call them genres, but different kind of modalities of dance, things like hoop dance, like different flow arts, where people have merged conscious dance, what they've learned from conscious dance with different flow art. So, and in pole in a sense is like, I think it's like a different flow art, except, you know, your tool is almost like more your body. And then the pole is like, you know, almost like the dancer in a sense, right? And
Totally.
you get to flow on the pole, but bring in those conscious dance pieces into doing pole, because it is such a healing and empowering practice for many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Was there any just last words you want to say to anybody that's maybe on the fence about joining the Dance as Medicine Facilitator training, or is thinking about it, or maybe they're even just hearing about it for the first time?
Yeah. You know, always when I'm doing these kinds of experiences and people are asking about it, I just want to say, like, just do it, you know, like you're, but I think I could not recommend it enough. Like, that's like, it's been so transformative for me. The container, you as a mentor, the space, the learning, all of it is beautiful. And I think if you are on the fence, it's like asking yourself how you see yourself bringing this into the world, and picturing yourself in 9 months after you've completed this course, like what how is this going to impact you? How is this going to impact other people? And aligning with that. And for me, it wasn't a question. It was like, yes, I know I want to bring this into the world. I know that this can help me and it can help other people heal. So I think really checking into yourself and how you see that. And I think if you are just a little bit interested, you know that you can bring this into the world in a very magical and beautiful way. Yeah, I think when we're kind of interested in something, it's our soul whispering at us of what the potential is. And so I think honoring that and listening to that is very important, and always following those little curiosity voices.
I love it. Love it. Thank you for those words.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Serena, for taking this time to chat with me. And for anybody that's watching this, thanks for taking the time to watch it. And if you do have any questions about the upcoming Dance as Medicine Facilitator training, just reach out, let me know. We are starting, registrations open until March 1st, 2023. And we're starting March 8th for the next round. And I'm really excited for those that are joining us in this next round. So
excited.
Thanks again, Serena. And
Thank you.
and I'm just going to throw this out. You can find Serena on Instagram at I am Serena with an H on the end. I'll also post it in the comments. You can find her there. And especially if you're in Montreal, seek her out, give her some love. And especially if you feel this call to this merging of conscious dance and pole dance, she's the lady for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hope. Have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone.